These are the different cucurbits I'm going to hot water test, and I'm going to do 2 samples of the exact same seed at 2 different temperatures, and I'll explain that a little bit in a minute. Hey everybody, this is Brent in Central Arkansas. So I'm in my house and I'm editing for this video, and I see I have not recorded an introduction to it. It's raining outside and I want to complete this video, so I'm going to go ahead and give you the introduction, a little bit of an explanation what this video is about. I have what I believe is a squash mosaic virus that hit some of my yellow squash, and it turned it essentially kind of an orange color with a little bit of green in it. And because my squash has the B gene, it doesn't fully develop what the squash mosaic virus typically does, which is actual big parts of green within it. The B gene's pretty fantastic. It helps a lot with those sorts of things, and some other things, but we won't get into that right now. So I know that hot water treating works. It works with many different types of vegetables, not only because I've experienced it myself and saw the benefit of it, but because it's out there all over the internet now. When I first started, there was only a couple resources I could find that talked about it, and I wanted to get rid of some disease I was having with my tomatoes many years ago when I was growing them in the greenhouse. So I did some research and I tried it. I refined it. I've got a couple videos on how I do it, but they've always said at these universities, and the experts have said, that you cannot hot water treat larger seed like cucurbits, and cucurbits include things like watermelon, squash, both summer and winter, melons, and cucumbers. Those are the most common cucurbits that people grow. And so I'm thinking, I've never really had a need to do it, so I never really, thought much about it. It's mostly always tomatoes that I hot water treat. But with this new virus that I saw signs of this year, I think it was the squash mosaic virus. I'm not sure, but I do know hot water treating takes care of most viruses and other vegetable disease, so I thought I would give it a try with cucurbits, and that's what this video is about. I have found it to be, well, I'm not going to tell you the results of the video. I'm going to let you watch the video, so let's get into it. These are the different cucurbits I'm going to hot water test, and I'm going to do 2 samples of the exact same seed at 2 different temperatures, and I'll explain that a little bit in a minute. But what you see in each one of these little organza bags is different types of cucurbits. I've got in this one watermelon, in this one, let's see here, this is a summer squash, zucchini actually. This is a winter squash. This one here is another summer squash, another winter squash, a cantaloupe, and a cucumber. And so I'm going to take all of these and put them into this bag here that's going to be submerged. Here's the setup. I do it in the bathroom. It's nice and bright in here. So I've got it set to 95. Let's turn this on and see if this mirrors it pretty close. 94.8, 95.1. Right at the same temperature. The only purpose of this one is to verify this one, because temperature needs to be pretty precise with this method of hot water treating. And I'm hot water treating cucurbits because they're not supposed to be hot water treated by a lot of the literature I've read, but I did it once before and it worked. And so I saw some squash mosaic virus, I believe, on one of my squashes. So I want to go ahead and start hot water treating these 2. It's so easy. So the various universities and scientific folks that do these sort of things, they do it for sale too. I mean, you can send your seed to them. They do it en masse for seed companies and whatnot. But anyway, they say that hot water treatment kills not only the virus on the outside of the seed, but also the virus on the inside of the seed. Many different types of virus. It's especially helpful with tomatoes. And so it's very, very beneficial to do this. And to me, I've got it down to such a quick process, it doesn't really take too much of my time to do. So I've got 2 different trials I'm going to do. 122 degrees for 25 minutes, which is the tomato and temperature, along with many others. I've got lots of videos on this, by the way, if you want to check out hot water treat. Type in hot water treatment in my YouTube channel, or just hot water. The other one I'm going to do is 125 for 30 minutes. Now this is for pepper, and it's the warmest. And so if I trial both of these, I can test the germination, and we'll see if it's beneficial. And the longer, obviously, the longer you can do something, the more potential to kill disease. And so I'm going to try them both. Why not? I've got the seed. I do my own trials. Let's just do that then. So the water in here is going to get at the most 125 here, 122. And with that temperature, you can actually hold your hand in there for a short while. Maybe 15 seconds or so, or I can. So it's not super, super hot, but it's hot enough to eliminate disease. And so I've got the universities and the people who do this, they say that you start off at 100 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm starting off at 95. And you soak it in water to acclimate the seed to a little bit warmer temperature. And then from there you go up to 122 or 125. And then once you get at that temperature, then you put the seed into that temperature, and then you go for 25 or 30 minutes, whatever the case may be. But the way I've been doing it, and it seems to work great, is I started off I did 100 last time. I'm going to start it at 95, and I put the seed in there, and then I just reset this, and it warms up to that temperature. And then once it gets to 122 or 125, then I will start the actual timer. So let's go ahead and do that. This is set at 95. I'm going to put the 122 degrees for 25 minutes in there, and I'm going to use this fork just to weigh it down to make sure it doesn't come back up. during this process. I haven't done it with the fork yet. It may stay down. Anyway, all right, let's set this to 10 minutes, or to 122, and it should go up by itself. Whoop, hit it. There we go. So it's 95 blinking. I'm going to set it to 122. All right, it's at 122. I'm going to hit the play button, so to speak. The temperature should now start warming up to slowly to 122. Oh, it didn't start. There it goes. So what is this? This is called a sous vide cooker, and what it does is it circulates the water and heats it at the same time. And so you could actually cook with this. In fact, that's what it was designed for. It wasn't designed for seeds, technically. But the temperature is so precise that it's great for this process. In fact, when I first started hot water treating, they didn't have the sous vide. And so later on, they came out with the sous vide, and it's using the sous vide, and so the homeowner can actually use it. You see the temperature's going up there. Now when it gets to 122, this sous vide cooker will make a beeping noise, and at that time I'll set the timer for 25 minutes. And once the timer goes off, I'm going to run the seed in cool water to stop it from being heated and bring it back down to normal room temperature. Once this batch is done, I'm going to do the warmer temperature for a longer time with the other one. Exact same way. Like I said, I've got three videos out on hot water treating mostly tomato seeds, because tomatoes are the biggest disease carriers. And I want to do it now with squash too. In fact, I want to do it with all of my seeds, just to take that extra precaution, because right now, knock on wood, I don't have any disease in tomatoes that I can see. And last year and the year before, I had bacterial canker. Especially last year, it was really bad. And so that doesn't have a fix. Bacterial canker you can't get rid of even by treating it with fungicide. And so I went back to doing this. I got away from it for a short period because I thought I could. And then the devastation last year really upset me, so I went back to it, and this year is looking great so far. So it works. It definitely works. And it is far better than fermenting seed, because fermenting seed don't get the inside of the seed. All right, it says 122. I've got a timer here set for 25 minutes. So once this goes off, I'll come back here. And this beeps for a little while until I don't know, it just beeps for a little while for some reason, then it'll turn off, it'll quit beeping. So this doesn't always line up perfectly like with this. It's a ½ degree off, which I think that's acceptable. But anyway, everything seems to be working good. I'll bring you back once I do this, and we'll get another batch going with the warmer temperature right there. Down to 19 seconds. I'm going to turn this off and take it out. I drew a sink full of cold water, and we're going to take it out. Now, I'm going to unplug this, the sous vide, and we're going to get this out. Put it in the water here. And this will sit in the cold water, and it'll soak up to where it's not heated anymore. And I would say it'll be room temperature, below room temperature when it's done. So I'll set up this sous vide again for this one, and we'll do the exact same process, just a little bit different, a little bit higher temperature, and then we'll get to planting these things. We're off again at 95. 125 for 30 minutes, and I found out that I can use the probe to hold it down instead of doing a fork. It's kind of hard to do when I'm holding the camera. Anyway, I'll stick the probe on top of it. There we go. I'll do that anyway. When it comes up, let's set the to 125. Now it'll do the same thing. It'll start warming up to 125. We did 122 last time. We're doing 125 this time. For 30 minutes. All right. 125, more or less. There we go. And the probe is holding it down. I think I've said this, but if I haven't, it probably needs to be said. This is a germination test of 2 different degrees of hot water treating cucurbits. The various forms. I got a watermelon, a cantaloupe, a cucumber, a winter squash, and a summer squash. I'll even go over the varieties. I've got ambassador, Tahitian melon squash, Greek sweet red squash. This is a watermelon breeding of my own. This is a cantaloupe breeding of my own. And this is Bet Alpha. Most of these I'm not really using, so the expense of losing the seed is quite fine with me. And the value gained from this trial is definitely worth it. So over here I put a piece of painter's tape and I wrote on it with a Sharpie. This is the 122 degrees Fahrenheit for 25 minutes on this side. And of course the opposite, 125 for 30 minutes on this side. And they're all in there. I put 5 in each little pot. Now they don't need room to grow because they're only going to germinate and then I'm terminating. So the only thing left to do now is to put some topsoil or mix on top of this and then fill the reservoir so it can start wicking, and then we'll check every day. All right, if we look at both of these, we got 122 on this side for 25 minutes and we've got 125 for 30 minutes on this side. And there was some germination issues and some little bit of oddities too that I want to talk about briefly. And then at the end, I'm going to put a summary of the germination and the overall thoughts on it. Well, I'll probably tell you my thoughts on it now. So the 122 at 25 had the most germination of watermelon, and this one had 3. And that was the one that was most delicate to both temperatures. The watermelon on the other side only had 1, but it looked, well, and it took a while to come out compared to the other side. So there may be more coming out, but the germination delay and only 1 of 5 germinating is definitely not ideal. So let's see here. The one thing I noticed was that the cucumber and the Tahitian melon squash, which is a winter squash, was more aggressive at sprouting quicker under the higher temperature. But the rest of them that aren't those two sprouted quicker under the 122 degree on the right hand side. So overall, like I said, I'll put the numbers of each germination, 5 were in each pot. I'll put the total numbers at the end here. But overall, my assessment is that both of them work, but I would lean closer to 122 for 25 minutes. And in fact, I have done one for a little bit warmer I could do one, I think I did 123 and I did it for 28 minutes. I think something like that would be better, because my tendency is to go stronger or hotter to kill more and still maintain the ability to germinate than to go the very weakest and it not work as well. So I went a degree hotter to make sure, and a little, my battery died, so I'll try to pick up where I left off. My assessment is, yeah, I'm definitely going to do just a shade warmer, probably about 123, maybe 124, and I'll probably about 123 for about 28 minutes, just like I did, and that's why I did it the first time. I want to get a little bit more killing power with a higher temperature, and yet protect the germination rate, because 1 out of 5 is way too low. Anyway, I'm going to grow the Tahitian melon squash here from both. I have a spot in the raised bed garden to grow both, and I want to look at the long-term effect, which I can tell from these plants there is no long-term, there's not going to be any long-term effect. They look gorgeous, and I'm getting the true leaves starting to show up on this one. On the other one here, you can see the true leaf is not as prominent, meaning that it grew after this side did. I don't need any of the other plants because they're not in my game plan. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to put the results here, and then we'll end the video. If you enjoyed the video, please share it. If you really enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. And if you, no matter what you thought of the video, if you want to comment, I love talking to folks. I don't mind negative comments. Positive comments are appreciated, of course. I'll talk to anybody about anything. And yeah, until the next video, we'll see ya.
How long do we gotta stay here for people we don't know in one lines? All of the clothes are designer, fast cars and who knows who. Yeah, I know what they wanna say. They're gonna ask me if I'm gonna make it. I don't care if I'm gonna have to fake it, long as I can